All right. It
Sweet.
is the What Am I Doing podcast. It's July 31st. I'm with Courtney, my friend. How do you pronounce your last name just so I don't screw it up? I don't think I've ever said your last name with my mouth.
Really? That's okay. It's probably better to read because it's kind of a silly last name. It's Forti,
Forty.
Forti, but it sounds like the number, so.
Okay. All right. Cool. So Courtney Forty, and
hmm
she was. Well, you know what? I'll let her explain. You recently spent time in Korea. Why don't you tell us what you were doing over there?
Yeah, so I had this kind of amazing opportunity to go and substitute teach for a friend of mine who has been living in Korea for 2 years. And he, has worked at a school for a while and was on good enough terms with them to organize a 3-month vacation. But one of the terms was that he had to find his own substitute to come and teach in his place.
Well,
So
you know what?
I've kind of
In,
always been curious.
in Korea. Hold on one second.
Oh
I'm
yeah, I was
getting.
like, wait, I hear things. What's happening? Amazing opportunity to.
Oh.
Whoa,
Okay. That was
I
like
can
that
hear
was like
myself.
that was like Inception. I don't know what
That was
just
really
happened.
weird.
No, you know what it
Whoa.
was? It was the page on my screen. I had hit the play button before I started this, so that was
Ah.
actually the live broadcast. If somebody was watching this, they're like it's like a tape delay. So I
Oh,
paused it. We're good. So rewind a
that's so
second.
cool.
All professional on my podcast.
No,
So
no,
in
that's totally fair.
terms of his release was
So
that
he had his release. Yep.
he had to find
Um,
a replacement.
yeah, so he had to find a replacement for those 3 months, and I have actually like 6 or 7 people that I know, some of them really good friends who've taught in Korea before. So I've always been curious about it, but a year is a pretty long commitment, especially because it's not a place that I felt particularly drawn to travel to or like any sort of cultural resonance with. So 3 months was kind of a perfect time period for me to do that, and I so I signed on to go over, and it was pretty cool. I had like an apartment to live in, and I had actually a friend from growing up who lived in the same neighborhood as me and taught at the same school,
Cool.
who I like had there as also kind of a friend and like some help. So it was kind of like it was like a great Korea sort of light introduction because it was a very short period of time, but it was really almost more intimate in that like I had a pre-established life that I was going into and just kind of filling in for someone while they were gone.
That's cool. I know you said you
Yeah,
got friends out there who had already been teaching, and that was kind of like your gateway into it. That was my next question was how, what prompted you to decide, hey, I'm going to go to Korea and teach for a couple of months. Um,
right.
why isn't that you didn't want to, we not want to, but initially it wasn't Korea wasn't a place you thought to travel because you generally travel well
Yeah.
a lot.
I tried. I'd like to travel more. But yeah, Korea's it was the place that for me. So I ended up because all my friends and these people that I know traveled there and lived there, and part of it is true that it's like you make fantastic money for a pretty decent job. You usually get hooked up with a place to live, and you have it pretty easy. Um, so I always had it in my mind of something that maybe would be a smart idea in terms of making some money. Um, but yeah, just like I don't know, I had these kind of conceptions of like a culture that was very very um, like materialistic, and I didn't know much about Korean history or Korean culture outside of like some pretty basic, maybe even stereotypical things. And it was just a place that hadn't ever been on my peripherals, but I'm of the mindset that if you have an opportunity to go somewhere and it's a new experience, you're usually better off for taking it. And if it was 3 months, it was like sort of you can do anything for 3 months, I think. So,
Right, that
um,
sounds like a like the
yeah,
best.
It was strange.
Yeah, like sounds like a
Yeah, I
like
didn't have to commit to a year. It definitely was. Not having to commit to like a year-long thing in a place that I didn't really feel, you know, intensely about was nice. But at the same time, um, I had like, instead of, I had excitement about going, but I also just kind of had like a pretty general, like, sense of confusion the whole time because I was just like, wait, how did I end up? Didn't think that I was ever going to be here. Now I had like a neighborhood and I had an apartment and I had Korean coworkers and like a completely different, like, it's strange because it's a very like, it's a culture that really does like Western sort of ideals and Western
Right.
culture and tries to mimic that. But at the same time, it just feels incredibly different. Like there's no, for me anyways, there's no way that it was just like, oh, I'm just living somewhere slightly different. Like it was very, very different at a very like
So
core level.
how did that affect your teaching the children? Like, what
Yeah,
are the
so
roadblocks of communication, obviously, and just
mhm.
general personalities?
Yeah. There was actually, it was a teaching was really interesting because that was the thing that I thought would be the easiest part. Like I really enjoy teaching. I really enjoy language. And I'm generally have like a good amount of experience dealing with kids. So I wasn't really intimidated by the fact that I'd be teaching kids who's, were having a hard time with English. Um, or like I didn't think it was going to be that strange, but then the cultural differences between like Western like education and Korean education really became apparent very quickly. And one of the things I struggled with was like I worked at a private hagwon, which is
Okay.
an academy that kids pay to go to.
Right.
So it's like pretty much like a tutoring center. But most kids pay to go to at least like four or five different academies. One being English. Sometimes they do science and math. Um, so these are kids like, part of my problem with it. I'm sorry, I'm just fiddling with my computer because it's not charging and I'm noticing it's very low. So
That's all right. That's okay.
I'm just I look really fidgety just trying to make sure that this doesn't die because it's getting there. Um, but so I kind of had this moral complication for myself of just continuing, like having kids do schoolwork for me all the time when I knew that they had been in school already, and like that I felt like the kids there kind of didn't have um, as much freedom as I felt like
Right. They're
a
really
kids in
stressing.
America. Also, like there's a very, very like um, there's just a very, very strong focus on success and accomplishing like what the set task is.
Okay.
And yeah, Rich, my computer is saying it's at 3%. Hold on. I'm really sorry.
That's fine.
You may want to pause this.
I don't
I'm
know if
like
they're
trying to get.
recording.
Oh wait, hold on. I think we might be good. Hold
All
on.
right, cool.
Is
Yeah.
it? Oh, thanks, Chris. I might use it. Hold on. My computer. My friend just told me I could use his if I need to.
Okay, that's fine. We can we'll just end up splitting it into two parts. That's totally fine.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah.
it's so stupid. This computer is so. And this is how you like. I just don't know how to use technology. Is my problem.
That's
It's
all right. You're
real.
off. You're like
It's
jet setting off to Korea. You don't need technology, but
yeah,
maybe you need
yeah. Same.
technology more. I don't know.
I needed technology a lot when I was there. I definitely did. No, I needed it more than I knew how to use it, I think, is usually my problem in life. It's like I get attached to very simple technological things, but I just don't really know how to execute them well. Ah,
So
okay.
the
We might have to.
you want to split it and do a second part on the other computer?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. We're gonna
All right.
take a axe break. People who are watching this on the YouTubes later, I'll obviously gonna post both of these. So just start clicking on the other video. We'll be right back.
Thanks.